Friends, there is a development happening behind the scenes in the tech companies right now, and it's actually going to be worse than artificial intelligence. This is being dubbed right now as super intelligence. Yes, while artificial intelligence, or AI, is focused on replacing human beings, superintelligence, SI, is essentially trying to replace God. And if that doesn't sound concerning to you, well, then this video isn't for you. But we're going to be talking through, and this isn't outliers. This isn't like some fringe little company. We're talking about Meta or Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg is pioneering this trend of not trying to replace humans, but to replace what guides humans, what tells humans what's right. Something that can do stuff that humans can't do right now. All right, friends, we're going to get into this. We're going to unpack what Mark Zuckerberg's vision is. We're going to talk about some of the differences between it and AI. Let's just say it this way. AI sits in a supercomputer or a data center there, and you interact with it via chat, okay? You're chatting with it. You're talking to it. Mark Zuckerberg wants AI to be, or SI, to be with you all the time. And it's truly, truly scary. All right, friends, let's get into it. Welcome back to the Poplar Report. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is your 100th time here, welcome. I've talked about artificial intelligence before, right? I think that there's a lot of great uses for it, and I'm excited for some of those uses, and it's cool, and it's fun, but it's also scary. Well, Mark Zuckerberg, while investing into the traditional artificial intelligence, where you're tapping into a data center somewhere else and you're typing little commands, or you're talking to the computer, and that is getting transferred into text and it's getting computed, maybe out in Arizona or wherever the data center is. And then it's sending a response back to you through the internet, and you get that, pretty fast back. Now, if you tell it to think or to process something that's a little more complicated, it can take a little bit longer. Or if you want to edit a video or edit a picture or something like that, then it's going to take a little bit longer. But that's generally the idea. Now, we've already talked a little bit about that. The goal here is going to be to get it off the data center and get that intelligence, that artificial intelligence, into robots, get it into appliances, get it into things that you interact with, right? So it's not stressing the internet so much. We don't need a data center to run that artificial intelligence when you can have the device yourself that can think for itself, which is scary enough as it is. But Mark Zuckerberg wants to jump over artificial intelligence to superintelligence. And this really gets to the heart of it. He doesn't want to replace humans. And that makes sense, right? Facebook makes a commodity of our attention. We are what Facebook sells. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want to replace you and me. He wants to replace God over you. And that's really not cool, actually. He wants a super intelligent AI system, or SI system, that can guide you and do your thinking for you. This super personal, he calls it a personal super intelligence. This personal super intelligence will tell you to do things, as opposed to the artificial intelligence where you tell it to do stuff. Write me a paper. The personal super intelligence will look at you and say, you know what? You need to lose some weight. You need to stop eating XYZ. Are you seeing how that's a little bit different? A personal superintelligence tells you what to do, orders your life, decides what you should watch. Artificial intelligence has always been bound by this idea that it should do what you tell it to, and not more. It should be restrained and focused on accomplishing tasks that you give it. Personal superintelligence comes up with tasks and gives them to you. Instead of adapting itself to your wishes, it wants to adapt you to its wishes. There's only two things in the world that should really tell you what to do, in my personal opinion. God and your spouse, right? God and your spouse. This is the only things in the world that should tell you exactly what to do. I mean, I get it. Your government. Yeah. Okay. Governments, it's not a perfect thing. But the general idea, we shouldn't have a smartphone that's smarter than us. And honestly, let's just be truthful about this. A lot of people are dumber than their phone. That's the way we moved. A lot of people just don't have critical judgment. They don't have critical understanding. They hear something and it's like, oh, that must be true. That must be true. I get a lot of reports and things from you guys. Some people send me a lot more than other people. And every so often I get some email or comment or something like that. And it's just so off base, right? Like it's like an alternate reality. The person is living is in an alternate reality. And it's just like, it's not that I disagree with what they're saying. It's like I can't even get what they're saying. Like, I understand the words. I understand what they're saying. I can't imagine how you could get there, where you're seeing things from that world. And I get exposed to a whole bunch of people. So I'm sure you guys have had those experiences too, where you've heard somebody start talking about something, whether they're on the opposite side of the political spectrum or whatever. And you're just like, I don't get how you can think that way. Whether it's people being sent back to the places where they come from, and you're just like, how can anyone disagree with that? Like, I don't get that. Or punishing criminals for what they've done, hold them accountable and have sentences and punishments. And then you hear somebody saying like, oh, well, it's not their fault, it's society's fault that failed them, and that's why they committed that thing that they did. And you just say like, what planet are you from? Like, what do you mean it's society's fault that this person committed that horrible atrocity? That's insane talk. No, individuals are held accountable for what they've done. Like, that's the world that we live in. What world are you living in where people don't get held accountable for what they've done? Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Now, imagine personal superintelligences that are embedded into devices, or whether it's your smartphone or your computer or your home or your car. And this personal superintelligence knows better for you than you know for yourself. Now, artificial intelligence is like, let's replace a driver in a vehicle with a computer in a vehicle. Okay, that kind of makes sense, like, if we can get a car that is safer to drive than I am to drive, I'll consider it. I'm still wary about that because I'm going to be hard to convince that this thing can drive better and safer than I can. I feel like, and I think you all are that way too, it's like we feel like we're pretty safe drivers, right? Even if we're kind of not safe drivers, we all think that we are, right? That person that did that insane maneuver in front of you, somehow they think they are a good driver, right? I want their car, their driving to be replaced with artificial intelligence, okay? But when you start looking at super intelligences, we're talking about computers thinking and doing things that we cannot do. It's not just writing the symphony, it's not just writing the novel, but it's determining what novels ought to be written. It's not about helping you achieve your fitness goals. It's coming up with the fitness goals for you and telling you how to abide by them and telling you no. What happens when your self-control gets replaced by a machine that knows better than you do? I mean, on one hand, you can kind of go, I kind of can get that. Like, what if my refrigerator or my kitchen were run by a superintelligence where it treats me like a child and only gives me what I ought to have? I mean, on one hand, you kind of go, well, that would make dieting a little bit easier. But on the other hand, isn't there like a moral, spiritual thing about that? Like, where we are replacing what rules our lives from our spirits within us to a machine around us? Isn't self-determination and freedom kind of something important? Like, isn't life more than being safe and being rich, wealthy, productive? If all you have to do is turn over your freedom and your self-determination over to a machine that can run your life better than you can. Is anyone else getting a little freaked out by that? Now, I understand you have to turn your control over to this machine, but these super intelligences are what they're working on. Facebook is dumping billions of dollars into this. They don't just want to replace human workers, human drivers, tasks that people do with machines that do those tasks. They want to replace the things, the people, the control of the people with machines. And one must ask the question very simply, who controls the machines that control the people? And in that, I think we would seriously see the problem. Now, there are some things that we already get that. You go onto YouTube, and YouTube has artificial intelligence and algorithms that are trying to determine what you would like to watch. Its artificial intelligence is trying to determine, through this massive catalog of videos, what you would like to watch, and filtering that, of course you've seen this, filtering that with what you ought to watch. If anyone's had trouble getting to channels like this, it's like I watch that channel every single day, and yet YouTube can't figure out that I want to watch that. YouTube knows you want to watch a channel like this, but YouTube also thinks that you shouldn't want to watch a channel like this. And as you get aggravated by that, welcome to the world of superintelligence. Superintelligence isn't necessarily super intelligent, but rather it's not meant to be your worker. It's not meant to be your slave. It's meant to be your master. And that is the world that I think we're going to see more and more trouble with. When you have superintelligences meddling with your lives, whether with your consent or without your consent, we're going to see freedom become more and more of an issue. Do you have the right to do things that may negatively impact other people? What happens when you get told you're not allowed to drive anymore? That you can't get on the road unless an artificial intelligence is driving your car. Okay, the driver is artificially intelligent, but the intelligence is the one telling you that you can't drive the car by yourself. One is doing your bidding or doing the bidding. The other is telling you to do its bidding. Friends, do you find that troubling? Do you think that superintelligence is going to be more of a threat to human freedom and humanity than artificial intelligence? Let me know. Is it going to be the drones that replace us or the drone masters that rule us? And let me throw that crazy question out to you. What if we were to replace Congress and all the politicians with a superintelligence or a bunch of superintelligences? Would that be better? There might be less corruption. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. That's a crazy thought, scary thought maybe. But I don't know. What areas of life should be run by humans? What areas of life can be run by robots? All right, friends, I'm sure you guys are going to have some pretty interesting things to say down in the comments. Don't hate me. I'm just bringing the news. I'm not the one investing billions of dollars into it, okay? I'm just telling you what they're doing, trying to expose what they're doing. All right, friends, if you like this video, if you like me bringing topics like this, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. All right, friends, if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.